Analytics installed? Does anybody have Google Analytics installed? Does everyone know what Google Analytics is? This is the dashboard you get in Google Analytics, and as Dennis said, there's a myriad of information on there, and it's very easy to get bogged down in the information and know what to look at and what not to look at. I mean, fundamentally, it's information about your website's visitors. You know, it's about the people coming onto your site, and it gives you information about those website visitors. And you can use that information, and it can be very powerful information if you know how to use it and use it properly, and fundamentally it can improve the performance of your website and enable you to sell more stuff. Or you can not look at it and it won't therefore tell you anything, and you can just let the website run off in the background and it's not optimised and it won't sell more stuff. So the idea of today is to try and demystify a bit for you. As Dan said, we won't be able to explain everything in Google Analytics because it's very, very comprehensive, but at least give you a flavour as to the main things to look at, what it can do, some of the things you can set up, and really be the start of your journey into fundamentally helping you to get your website better and selling more stuff. So it's amazing how many people will install Google Analytics and to actually tell them that no one's visiting their website. Which, if you don't actually know that no one's visiting your website, it's all very, you know, you can live in the land of dreams, just thinking, oh, I'm not getting very many leads, but you know, it must be, you know, people are just looking at the right things. But it's good to know if no one's looking at it, because then you can actually do something about it, whether it be changing how it looks, to actually doing some marketing for your site. So if you don't know, you won't do anything about it. But if you have visitors to your website, it then enables you to look at where they're going, what they're doing when they're on your site, and refining your site so it works better. And to give some real life examples, many moons ago I used to work for Waitrose, John Lewis Partnership, and they're an amazing business. I mean, when you think about it, it's a premium brand, and during the recession they've actually grown, and you think, what a phenomenal business, and you think, well, why, you know, how have they done this? Well, it's, you know, it's a real attention to detail, and they look at and measure absolutely everything. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, from, you know, the types of lighting, the, you know, particular colour that you get from the lights, to the uniforms, to you know, the display cases for refrigeration. Do they have one, you know, like when you go into Iceland, where they all sort of like wrap them up, just big old chest freezers. They deliberately have them so you could, they're a lot more energy inefficient, but they're open so customers can go to them. But they test everything. They don't just think, oh, that's a good idea, let's retry this, and just, you know, let's just chuck this refrigeration system in. And they test everything. So they'll go to a particular store, they know what the figures are, the sales figures are for particular products in that particular store, and they will test maybe a new refrigeration cabinet, a different design, and see how it works. And if it works well in there, they then might go to 3 stores, and if it works there, they'll then roll it out. So they don't just do things and let anything happen by chance. And they test and measure absolutely everything. So basically, Google Analytics, it helps you to understand the people that are actually coming onto your website. It can help you understand, firstly, how many people, where they're from, so if they're from the UK or if they're from overseas. It can help you understand loads of things, what they're searching for to help you find your website, what pages they like, what pages they go onto and immediately go off. And so we'll be running through all of these, but it basically helps you to understand the people coming onto your site, so you can refine your site to make you sell more stuff. So you try and break it down into about 4 primary things. So you need to understand who the visitors are to your website, where those visitors come from. Do they come from Google? Do they come from, for example, if you've done a paper, if you've done a leaflet campaign, for example, something with other marketing, we need to understand what pages they're going on to, how long they're staying on there, and any particular goals. So say, for example, if your goal is to sell to sell widgets, you can set goals up within analytics to understand how they're getting on, how your website's getting on with selling the widgets. So this is the dashboard. This is the dashboard that you get in Google Analytics, and these are the first things that you see. So what I'm going to do is go through each one of them and just describe what they actually mean. It might seem fairly obvious, but you really need to understand what these mean so you can understand the power of them, really. Number one is visits. So it's basically, if you've got a shop, it's the number of times that front door opens and anyone comes into the store. So if Den comes into my store 50 times in one day, that counts as 50 visits. So all it's really counting is the number of people coming into your store, the door opening, that's visits, which, you know, on the one hand it's useful, you know how many times the door's opened, but there are some better metrics which give you more information. So for example, unique visitors. So Den's come into the store 50 times, maybe it's just because we want to have a chat. But in actual fact, for my store to make money, what I really want is loads of different people coming into the store. So that's what the unique visitors are. It's a number of different people actually coming into the store. And then you have page views. If you're looking at a page, it's a bit like someone coming into your store and looking at products. How many pages, how many products have they actually looked at in your store? So if they look at one and then immediately go out, that's obviously telling you something. If they're looking at 50 and then go out, that's telling you something different. So, and then you get a nice little average here where it's sort of pages per visit. So on average on this particular website, people look at about 2.5 pages. So that's not too bad. That's showing that there's enough on this website which is actually holding someone to, you know, on average to look at a couple of pages. If it was saying that people only see one page and then immediately go, they're thinking, well, I'm not doing something right here, and I need to try and hold people on my website a bit more. And another metric that gives you an idea as to how well your website's working is the average time they're on your website. And average time here is 2 minutes, which isn't too bad, unless when you consider there will be some people coming onto this site where it wasn't what they were looking for, so therefore they've left immediately. So for someone to spend on average 2 minutes on this site, I'd say it's quite good. They're having a little look around. Bounce rate. You'll hear this, it's one of those internet jargon type things. It's basically the percentage of people that have gone into your store, so walked into Den's store, they thought, it's nothing I want here, and immediately walk out again. So about 40% to 47% of people here that walked into that store, they thought, this wasn't what I was interested in, and they walked straight back out again. In actual fact, that figure is not too bad. If it was 90% of people, you'd think, well, there's something quite wrong here. Obviously you want it better than that, but that's not too bad. It's okay, it's a number of people that walked in and then come straight back out again. New visits, that's pretty much as what you'd expect it to be. It's the number of times a new person has come in that's never been before. So they've never been to a Waitrose before, they've never been to your website before, versus the number of people that have been before. And Google tracks this because everyone has an IP address, an address of their computer, and it tracks all of that stuff, so it knows if you've been to somewhere before or if you haven't. So this particular website is, they do loans, and they do loans for people who are in financial trouble. So I'm quite impressed that we've got 13, nearly 14% of people who have come back again. You'd have thought that they would, after their first loan, they'd have been alright, but obviously not. So 14% of them have had to come back for a second loan.
I just add to this that all of these figures are relative to this time frame. We've taken a snapshot between August and September, but you could expand that or contract that, and these figures will reflect accordingly.